Okay, all right. Good afternoon. Happy Thursday, everybody. So I am fresh back from vacation. So how appropriate to do this discussion today. I wanted to talk a little bit about journaling. So far in the first couple of weeks of your program, most of you probably started to do your wins, learn your language. Some may have even started to work on some connection ports. Wherever you are in that process is not super important. If you're at the beginning, that's great. You can choose to do your wins and learn your language as you're doing, as your app is prompting you. And I do that. I also journal. I'm just old school, so I do pen and paper and I journal. And what I wanted to talk about today, as for your mindset, is that those wins and to learn your language. I did a mindset class on both of those a few weeks ago. So you can go back on the archive and look at that if you want to see that. It's maybe like a 10 or 12-minute video about those if you want a little bit more information. But on vacation, it was very important to me that I still kept that structure for me, that I wake up, I have a morning routine. And so even though I was on vacation, I wanted to talk about my process today that I go to the beach and I have drinks and I eat whatever, whatever I feel like eating, um, and I do all that stuff. But I also, I also went for a couple of runs. I went for walks, just sort of looking around, not because I had to, but because I wanted to. So it wasn't like a workout week for me where I had specific training that I needed to get done, but I went for a run because a lot of times when I'm in a vacation spot, that's how I explore and get to see. And I feel very fortunate that I can do that. But so I did those things. Um, and again, not because I had to, but because I wanted to. And it's important to me that while I'm on vacation, I have some kind of structure that doesn't interfere with my vacation, but that also just keeps me sort of open and in the right frame of mind. I find that if I miss out on my journaling or my morning routine, my entire day feels a little kind of off. And sometimes if I'm traveling with people, we're all dealing with like different schedules and how people get ready and all that kind of thing. And so if I've done my thing, I am able to manage that way better. So I wanted to talk about those two things. So my process in the morning is sort of wake up, grab my journal, and go sit. I was very fortunate that I was in an absolute beautiful place, but I do it in my own home as well. So I usually do my journaling here at my desk in the morning with my coffee. That's kind of my gig. And I don't do much before that. I have a routine the minute I get up so that it protects my brain from going on to like stress, what do I have to do mode. And then I can go out, walk the dog, come in and do my journaling and sit. My journaling started out with wins and learned your language. And then there's another two steps that I add in there. But it also, on vacation, I don't sometimes follow that regimented stuff. I kind of had a goal for myself, and nobody needs to get all that intense immediately on vacation. But just so that you understand what I was doing, is that I had a goal and I wanted to be able to write about that goal and where I was and what I thought about that goal. And did I need to change that goal? It was still the right goal for me. And just my thoughts from day to day while I was on vacation. And I was able to write them down. And it really wasn't so much, even though it's important of what I'm writing down, that wasn't what was most important. What was most important is that I started my day knowing what was going to happen and that my experience was a positive one no matter what I wrote down. Even if one morning I just kind of sat there with my journal open, I was like, right. And so I did eventually write some stuff down there. But again, it's not so important as it is. It's just like I just sat there with the journal open for a minute and I was like, okay, I'm just sitting here. So as you start to think about how you approach your day, how are you approaching your goals, how are you looking at you know moving forward, if it's if weight loss is something that you're working on? What's your mindset around that? Are you completely resistant, or are you going to sit there with your journal open and be like, "No, I'm not really sure today, but anyway, let me just sit for a second." Is it a positive experience? You're fighting yourself with that. Okay. When we're talking about you learn your language, very important to understand that subtext. And I talked about that before in the other call, so I won't get too much into that, but it will repeat that it is most important to understand what those subconscious thoughts are. They just play in your head because they are subconscious. So it's not like I'm like, "Oh, what are you thinking?" You're like, "Oh, well, let me tell you," because they're operating and you don't know it. The process that we're doing with Learn Your Language is to bring those thoughts out of your subconscious so that we know what they are. And then we go on to the next step from there. So don't want to jump the gun, but it is a process like anything that we do. It's not like, "Oh, great, check the box. I did my wins. I did my learn my language." It is a process that develops that should help get you in a positive frame of mind to face whatever the task is that you're going to do. If you're kind of resistant and mad at it and afraid that you're going to fail and all of those things are coming up, the chances of you doing real well are diminished. It's not impossible, but they're diminished, right? So we want to understand those things. So today, I wanted to just review that I kept my process while I was on my vacation. And make no mistake, while I was on my vacation, I laid on the beach and I had drinks and I ate food and I sat around and did nothing. But I also walked around and I explored and I wanted to see what my environment was, and I interacted with people, and I protected my process and engaged in my process as well. So that when I was sitting around just kind of doing, not much, it didn't feel like my day was taken because I'd done my stuff. Okay. So as you're moving forward in this process, I wanted to bring that up today. I thought it was appropriate since it was just fresh back from vacation. As you're going through, try to get a little bit more behind those wins. They can be very, very small. You guys know that. I'm like, you know what? You got out of bed today. That is a win, right? Sometimes, "Oh, remember to brush my teeth today," right? That is a win. Whatever it is, and the win itself is not the thing. Okay. But again, I talked about that in the other call, but just get in the habit of getting those wins, getting those learn your languages, and creating your process. That is what we are doing. Your process doesn't need to be 12 hours long. Okay. But as we're exploring it, maybe some days it's longer and some days it's shorter. Regardless, it should be something that you enjoy. Okay. And so it's not always enjoyable to walk through stuff and untangle it, right? Part of that process. But by the time we get through that, right, hopefully we will have an enjoyable process for you that stays with you, whether you are going to work, whether you are at vacation, wherever you are in your journey. Okay, so enjoy your wins and your learn your language. And if anybody has any questions about journaling, how much, what do we do, all that kind of stuff, please send me a message. We can you can jump on a quick coach call if you're interested. I'm all about it. I think it's so important, and people blow it off, and I'll tell you, the people that blow it off are a little bit slower in that process. So if you want to kind of speed up your process, spend some time journaling. And so there's one word answers, maybe put 3 words down. All right, so you guys know who you are. All right, and I know some of you I've spoken to are great. You journal, you don't even need me to tell you. You did it all on your own. So wherever you are in there, just you want it to be a system that is going to serve you in the long run. It shouldn't be torturous, but it is a habit that I firmly believe in. And so when I say it shouldn't be torturous, it might be if it's not your thing in the beginning. But we're going to work through that. And if you're really struggling, let me know. We'll set up a call. All right, everybody, happy Thursday, happy mindset call. And please do let me know if anybody's got any questions.